Welcome back to the Nivlac 57 YouTube channel. What you see sitting next to me is my 1981 Ford Fairmont station wagon. And today we're going to give it a few upgrades. If you guys aren't familiar with this project, it is a 26,000 mile car that I picked up 4 years ago. And we originally swapped in a twin turbo LS engine to get the car ready for Hot Rod Drag Week 2019. Unfortunately, we didn't make it very far in that particular event, and the car kind of sat for a little bit. And then I decided to just change everything. So I put in a Vortec 4200, which has become a popular thing on this particular channel. Since then, I have taken it to Midwest Drags and Sick Week, and we only managed to complete one of those, unfortunately. But the combination has been pretty well bulletproof. But before we get into the subject of today's video, a friend stopped by and we actually showed the car off to him. All right, guys, we got Trevor here from Motion Auto TV.
How you guys doing?
Go check out his channel. He's here checking out some 4200 stuff, and we just took him for a ride in the old station wagon. How close to #1 on the priority list are we?
We're getting bumped up a few, probably about 5.
Okay.
5. We're in the top 5 of priority
I'll
now.
take it. I'll take it.
So I've messed with the 4200s just a little wee bit. You were already messing with them. I seen the video of like the Studebaker, like basically running a 9-second pass. Didn't it run 9?
Yep.
Yeah, and like stock engine, it made turbo noises. I was like, why is nobody doing this?
We've never had a 4200 powered car that didn't run 9s.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I do a lot of, like K-Series Honda stuff, 2JZ stuff, diesel stuff. Like I like everything.
Yep.
I have a turbo LS in my Fox body, and we got an Envoy a couple years ago, and we're like, oh, let's just do like a turbo out of the hood and just make some boosts and make some noises and do donuts and stuff. And then we actually ended up doing a frame swap on a C10, but that engine has a rod knob. Like, so I just need to like replace that engine, throw an Artec turbo manifold on it, and start obviously some other things, and then send it. So I could literally take one of these and put it in my 240. Like we were just talking about going back and forth, swapping engines and doing stuff in like our original cars. That would be kind of cool. Like it feels like a big 2JZ. And it sounds like it, and it rips. We just did a little pull on 10 pounds of boost, and it's wild. Like, it's really wild. So,
Get over there, guys. Get over there.
So, yeah, I appreciate...
Start twisting his arm. Come on, guys.
But I appreciate Calvin for showing me this thing, taking me for a ride in it. It's honestly pretty impressive. And, again, pistons, rods, and too big of a turbo. It sounds like you're putting a different turbo on it soon, and I'm excited to see what else you could get out of it. So, because it's already good, it's really good. So,
cool. So it was super good to see Trevor stop by. If you guys aren't familiar with Trevor from Motion Auto TV, I highly recommend going and checking out his channel. And frankly, it was nice to see somebody get so excited about one of our cars. Frankly, this was in a period where I was a little bit down on the whole thing, so it was neat to just see some enthusiasm. So the subject of today's video is the reason that I built this car. The reason that we built this car is I wanted to beat the 1966 Chevy Nova that actually inspired me to do the 4200 in this car. At the very first drag week in 2005, there was a 66 Nova station wagon that competed with a Vortec 4200. And out of competition, they were able to run as quick as an 862 in the quarter mile. And my goal with my station wagon that you see here is I want to beat that time. So today we're going to be making some upgrades to help make that happen. So let's get into it. All right, the first thing that we changed already on the car is we installed a different turbo onto the car. Now, if you guys remember, we got a 7675 from Precision, and unfortunately the first one that we got just wasn't up to the task, and we had to send it back and get one of their Sportsman frame 7675s. And while doing that, we installed some 3.5-inch intercooler piping onto the car. I just wanted to eliminate that as a possible restriction. And we have that going up all the way to the throttle body. Also, we are converting to a Mustang style throttle body with a 2-wire idle air motor, just because I was having issues with the LS idle motor, and I have had much better luck with these in the past. And one other thing that we are going to be changing on the car is I want to change my spark plug wires to a set of MagnaCore KV85 spark plug wires, because these are very low resistance wires and they may be contributing to some sensor noise that I think that I'm seeing in my data logs. Basically, these are acting like a radio antenna and inducing current in the wires that are around them. And by installing a KV85, which has a higher resistance, it should reduce the EMF that those wires are putting off. So hopefully that fixes my problem.
Yay, Calvin!
All right, guys, we are in South Carolina, Darlington, actually the place where Drag Week starts, and we have something special here to show you. One of our subscribers here actually just hooked us up with this 4L80E, and he has gone through it and made a bunch of advancements, to try and make the thing stronger, and hopefully we will stop having transmission issues, as that seems to be a common string here lately. So right when I walked into the shop, I felt like I was at home. He's actually in the process of building this first gen RX-7 with a twin turbo LS, and thought we'd show this guy off. So what are your goals with this one?
To get it running would be a very, very good goal at the moment.
Yep.
I built the car to do some Mexico style racing,
yep.
And pretty much how this started was I started watching his YouTube channel, and I started building my truck, and I took all the guts out of it and found this car on a good deal. And now that I got it together, I'm going to start doing some of the backside stuff like they do at Dig or Die, or the Bear Fest they have at Darlington, and some of the Waterwood stuff. Basically kind of run-of-the-mill type racing. Low prep, very sketchy surfaces and stuff like that. This car was a good candidate just because of the weight of it, the size of it, and the architecture, and the fact it already had a big block in it when I got it, so pretty much dropping an LS in it was a plus on the weight, being able to work on it and maintain it. And I think this is a really cool car. It's got a cool story with it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's I love that you're sort of updating it and bringing it into the 21st century. So this thing's really cool. I'll be sure to link his YouTube channel down below if you guys want to follow along with his projects. You'll have to go subscribe, and I know it's been a little while since you probably have posted on there, but
I posted about a month ago.
Okay.
On starting the 4200, but the YouTube channel is Done Right DIY Fab. Done Right DUNRITE.
All right. Well, I'll link it in the description, so make it easy for you guys. So, all right, this one should look really familiar. Good old 4.2 liter. He's actually in the process of putting it into his what is this? A Silverado?
This is a 91 Super Sport Silverado.
Okay, 91 Super Sport. Okay. So you're ruining a classic, I see.
Well, if you notice, it still has the motor mounts to where it originally had the big motor in it.
You can always restore it, I guess.
It's going to have that 4L80 behind it, so if it doesn't work out, I can go back. But the biggest thing is I like doing stuff different, and I like to be different.
Yep.
And I just like the fact that, you know, hot rodding came from pioneering like this.
Yep.
You know, so to be honest though, I've gotten a lot of really good attention from this. People love the combo. They can't wait to see it running.
Yep.
They really don't even care about the fact it's a 6-cylinder, but
Yep.
I'm just ready to get it finished and start driving it.
Again, go check out his YouTube channel. Links are in the description. And make sure to go check out Brad's Automotive Repair. Alright guys, the next thing that we need to talk about is we are going to be changing our Transbrake Turbo 400 to a Transbrake 4L80E. The transmission that was in the car was a Facebook Marketplace purchase, and it was working fairly well up until the last little bit. The issues that we are having with it is it still holds the power and generally, you know, functions, goes through all the gears, but when I started to turn up my two-step RPM on the Transbrake, as I got to higher and higher power levels, the Transbrake stopped holding. So I think this is the third transmission that we have put in this car. This one was sort of meant to be sort of a temporary fix, but it continued to work for a little while, so we didn't want to mess with it. And since we're having issues with it again, I figured it was time to upgrade. What you see sitting next to it is a Transbrake 4L80E supplied to us by actually one of you guys. I want to say huge thanks to Brad at Brad's Automotive. He put together this 4L80E. It uses a early case with the transmission cooler lines in the front, which was one of my requests, since it doesn't really seem to make a whole lot of difference to the durability of the transmission. And he basically did everything that you would do to a 4L80E to make it last at 1,000+ horsepower. While he was in there, he also installed a Jake's D1 Transbrake, so if we decide to use that, it's there. My goal with the car is to actually try to foot brake the car. We were doing that with the Volvo and it was working very well. So why would you make this upgrade? The Turbo 400 is a transmission that's sort of from the 70s, and the 4L80E was basically a Turbo 400, and they added overdrive and lockup capabilities and made it so that the transmission could be electronically controlled. So since we want to take this car on a 1,000-mile road trip, having the overdrive and the lockup is going to make a huge difference. And those upgrades don't come for free, unfortunately. Obviously, you can see the transmission is a little bit longer than the Turbo 400, so I'm going to have to get a new drive shaft. And because it is a larger transmission, that means it's going to weigh a bit more. So before we throw this up into the car, we're gonna figure out how much more this thing actually weighs, just for curiosity's sake. All right, you can see that the Turbo 400 is already on the scale, and it comes in at 137 pounds. Now we have the 4L80E on the scale, and it comes in at 175 pounds. So for an increase in 37 pounds on the transmission, we get overdrive and lockup, but this is not the only component that will be increasing in weight. So next we're going to weigh the torque converters. So starting with the Turbo 400 torque converter that I have been running in the car for quite a while. It's a JAGS 60429 torque converter, and it comes in at 29 pounds. And next is the torque converter that we will be using in the 4L80E. This is a Circle D 230mm torque converter with a single disc lockup, and it comes in at 33 pounds. So we only gained 4 pounds with the torque converter and adding the lockup clutch as well as a billet back face. I would definitely say that weight is worth it. And the torque converter here is actually something else that we need to talk about. I basically contacted Pete at Circle D's and I asked him for as loose of a torque converter as I could get that would hold 1,000 wheel horsepower. I didn't need any fancy triple disc lockup or anything like that. All I wanted was a torque converter that would work well at the track, and then when we're rolling down the highway, we will engage lockup and all of that slip will go away. Now in a drag and drive, most of your challenge, at least on the road, is heat management. And most of your heat in your transmission comes from your torque converter. And that is because there is a certain amount of slip with this torque converter, and that puts a lot of heat into the fluid. And if you can eliminate that slip, you can eliminate the amount of heat that it generates. So what we have here is a single disc lockup, which is more than sufficient for our street driving duties. And since we're not making 3,000 horsepower and don't have all of the top of the line bottom end components in the engine, and I don't really want to drive over my crankshaft, we will not be using the lockup on the track. So we don't need any fancy triple disc lockups or anything like that. So basically I have a drag race torque converter that has a clutch in it that allows me to lock it up and eliminate any of the slip that I might see from that. I think this is going to be an awesome drag and drive setup, but the only way we're gonna find out is to get it in the car and test it. All right guys, the last upgrade that we're gonna talk about today is one that's a little bit bittersweet. We did a lot of work to try to retain the original bench seat in this car. And the reason for that is I was going for the sort of ultimate sleeper look. Now, if you guys followed us on sick week, you will know that I dropped out of sick week on the 3rd day, right after my dad had his really bad wreck. And the reason for this is, one, I was pretty bent out of shape with seeing my dad go through such a horrific thing, but also I was sort of terrified to run my station wagon down the track. If I had been in the position that my dad had been with this station wagon, I would very likely not be standing here today. And I think we can mitigate almost all of that with the addition of a better seat, which is what you see here. About the only containment that the original bench seat provides is it has a headrest, and in the very unlikely chance that you get rear-ended at the drag strip, you'll at least be protected in that direction. This seat, however, will provide much better protection for the driver. Not only do we have containment of the driver here at the chest, we also have containment here at the shoulders and also surrounding the head. This is sort of why they call it a full containment seat, and this is the only way that I'm going to feel safe running the types of speeds that I want to do with this car. So I hope you guys aren't disappointed about that particular upgrade, but I think it's a necessary thing, and I really do encourage people to consider their own safety when going the types of speeds that we plan to. In addition to the full containment seat, we will be installing something called a crash pad. And basically what this crash pad is it is a improved seat cushion, which will reduce the likelihood of injury in the event of an accident. Now, some of you might say, well, the seat already has padding. Well, unfortunately, a lot of the padding that you see with aftermarket seats like this is not really tuned correctly to dampen the impact load on the driver. And what the folks at Crash Pad have done is they have gone through tons of different materials and found the best material to reduce the likelihood of injury. In the same way that if you get your shock tuning wrong on your car, you might wad the tire up or blow them completely off. With a seat cushion, you may see the cushion totally collapse in a impact load scenario, and that might result in driver injury. The crash pad, on the other hand, is tuned to the perfect amount of damping, and it's like having the perfect shock setting to cut that really good 60-foot time, or in this case, you are getting the best amount of damping to reduce the likelihood of injury to the driver. So with that, I hope you guys learned a few things with today's video, and I'm going to wrap it up here. We have a lot of work to get this car ready, and hopefully we'll have it ready in time for drag week. And if any of you folks are near any of the tracks that are on drag week this year, make sure that you stop by and say hi. Don't be afraid to come up and talk to us. We love visiting with you guys. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.